Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I'd do the half drugstore, half high-end makeup look. I don't know the specific name for it, but you guys know the one I mean. Please excuse my face. I am a little bit spotty and I have got the flu, so I'm definitely not looking my best, but I did want to film this video regardless, so yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so on this side of my face, I'm going to do the high-end, and this side is going to be the cheaper option. First of all, I'm going to go in with the Urban Decay All Nighter foundation. As you all know, this is one of my favourite foundations ever. So I didn't have an exact dupe for that foundation, but I do have the W7 Singing in the Rain foundation, which is waterproof. The Urban Decay one's waterproof, and I think this one is pretty good coverage as well. I used this foundation in my testing W7 makeup, and I actually quite liked it. I do prefer the Urban Decay one. That is my all-time favourite foundation. But if you're on a budget, this one's pretty good, to be fair. Definitely not as full coverage, but it's still a pretty good coverage foundation. Okay, foundation on. They're not too different, to be honest. Like I said, the Urban Decay is definitely a lot better. I'm not going to be switching it up for the W7 one anytime soon. But I do like the W7 one actually, and it's like £3 I think. Next I'm going to go in with concealer, and normally I'd use my IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye, but I couldn't find a cheaper alternative to that. So I decided to go in with something that I haven't used in such a long time, and it's the Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage Concealer in the shade SC5. And then on the more affordable side, I'm going to go in with the NYX Above and Beyond Full Coverage Concealer. I literally haven't used this in such a long time, I can't even remember what it's like. It's covered that one up quite nicely. Almost can't even see it. And then I'm just going to press that in with my fingers. This is quite a thick concealer. I need to get rid of my mustache. Noted. Okay, so that did a fairly good job of covering. It's not overly brightening, but it covered up my dark circles. And then next I'm going to go in with the NYX one. This one is a bit more pale than the Laura Mercier. This feels a lot more sticky almost, like the other one feels quite dry, but in like a good way. But this does blend down pretty much exactly the same as the Laura Mercier one. That looks pretty similar as far as I can see. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Okay, now I'm going to go in with eye primer, and I'm going to go in with this Lancome one that I've had for quite a long time, and I used to use it before I got the other one I'm about to show you guys. I can't remember the name of it. It's nude something, but it's like an eye primer slash sort of creamy eyeshadow. I'm going to pop that on the lid. So this just kind of blanks everything out a little bit, and then again blend that in with the fingers. And then for the more affordable side, I'm going to go in with the Maybelline Colour Tattoo in Creme de Nude. This one is a lot more creamy and seems a lot more pigmented actually. Blend that in. So now I'm going to mix it up a little bit, and I'm going to go in with eyes. And I'm going to go in with the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette. And I think I'm just going to use the shade WOS. I never really used this palette. Let me know if you want me to use it a little bit more. But I'm going to pop that all over the lid. I actually just received the Urban Decay, the new Basics matte palette, so let me know if you want like a tutorial on that. And then for the other eye, I'm going to go in with the lighter shade from the W7 Naughty 9 palette. I don't think these colours are quite as similar, but they're pretty close. I think this one's a little bit more grey toned almost. Yeah, pretty happy with that. I think the colour from the Urban Decay one is definitely a lot better, but in terms of how it looks, you can't really tell the difference. So I am hopefully filming another video in a minute, so I'm not going to go too crazy with the eyes. But I'm going to go in with the shade Faint from the Urban Decay, and I'm going to pop that in the crease. And I'm just going to go underneath the eye with that as well. I like this colour a lot. It's a lot less warm tone than what I normally go for. But just like a nice smoky brown colour. I like it. Then I'm going to go in with the warm tone brown in this palette. This one does look a little bit more warm tone, so hopefully I can match them up a little bit. Definitely more warm toned than the other side. And then back in with the brown shade underneath. Curve that around a little bit. I don't know about you guys, but I think they look similar enough. This side definitely blended out a lot more easy, but you can work with this side very easily as well. Next for liner, I've got the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner, and then for the other side, I've got the Bourjois Mega Liner. So let's go in for a little tiny flick with that. The Kat Von D is definitely my favourite. I know that just from the get-go. That's that one, super easy, super black, really like the nib of that. And then we'll go in the Bourjois. The nibs aren't the same at all. This one's kind of got like more of a felt tip marker sort of look, but they are both quite black. Looking at it, I feel like the Bourjois side is actually a lot more black than the Kat Von D, but I do still prefer the Kat Von D liner. Next, we're going to move on to lashes. So for the more expensive side, I'm going to use the Benefit They're Real, and then for the more affordable side, I'm going to use the Max Factor False Lash Effect. So even though the brushes aren't the same, I feel like the formula's pretty similar, to be fair, and they both are really, really difficult to get off, which is a plus if you're out and about for a long day or something. You guys might be able to hear my cat cleaning its ass behind me. If you can, apologies. If you can't, sorry I told you that. Okay, nice long lashes courtesy of Benefit. Now let's move on to the other eye. So the brushes aren't exactly the same, but they are both plasticky brushes. So the formula is pretty similar, only the Max Factor one is a little bit more wet, so you don't get as like thick looking lashes. So you kind of have to wait and then build it up a little bit more. So next I'm going to move on to powder. For the more pricey side, I'm going to use some of the Clinique Invisible Powder. And I'm just going to set my under eyes with that and just get rid of any shininess that we don't want. And then for the more affordable side, I'm going to go in with the e.l.f. HD powder. And yeah, those two are pretty similar. I mean, they're both invisible powders. Yeah, pretty similar. For contour on this side, I'm going to go in with my Too Faced Chocolate Bronzer, and then I think I'm going to go in with the middle shade, maybe a combination of these two shades here in the W7 Shape Your Face palette. Just going with that. This one definitely smells better. I'm doing my makeup in such a random order today. Now for the more affordable side, I'm going with the W7 Shape Your Face. I'm going to see if this middle one is cool toned enough. By the way, in between using, like I am using the same brushes to make sure that I'm getting the same look, but in between doing it I am wiping them off on my pyjama bottoms. Yeah, I think that is a pretty similar colour match. The W7 definitely doesn't blend out as easy, but it's not bad at all and it's so much cheaper. I found when I contour my lips, if I do this face, it literally just looks like I've drawn a dark line underneath, but thankfully I don't tend to do that face in every day. So now I'm going to move on to blush. For the more expensive side, I have my Sigma Aura powder in Corda Rosa. I'm just going to use the same brush that I use to contour with, just because that's kind of what I do generally anyway. Pop this on the apples of my cheeks. And then I'm going in with this Technic blusher. This one is in the shade Peachy, and I'm going to go in with this, not this, this darker shade here. They're pretty similar in colour, I'll just show you guys. Hopefully you can see that. Pretty similar. This one's just a bit more deeper. Pop my brush on there. The Sigma side blends out a lot more easy, but the Sigma is like £20. This one I think is like 2 or 3. Now we're going to move on to brows. I don't know why I left it so late to do my brows. First of all, I'm going to go through them with some brow pomade, and I'm going to be using the Anastasia on this side and then the Freedom one on this side. You guys know these are pretty much identical. So I'm just going in with the Anastasia one on this side. Now I'm going to move on to the Freedom side. This one has dried up a little bit more, but they're still pretty much exactly the same. And I just put a little bit of contact lens solution in there. Just fill this one in. They're pretty much identical, to be fair, you guys. So next I'm going to fill them in using brow powder. For the more affordable side, I'm going to go in with the Freedom one, and then for the more expensive side, I'm going to go in with the brow powder from Billion Dollar Brows in the shade Taupe. Just going to pop that through my brows and blend it in a little bit. And then for the other side, I'm going in with the darker shade from the Freedom little duo, and I actually prefer this one, to be fair. Okay, so again, pretty similar. This is my favourite eyebrows. This is always the one that ends up better anyway, but in terms of like the finish and stuff, pretty much exactly the same. Next, I'm just going to set them in place. On the more pricey side, we have Charlotte Tilbury. On the more affordable side, we have Rimmel. So I'm just going to brush these through and just spike them up a little bit. I do prefer the brush on this one just because it is so tiny, but this is around like 20 quid, I think, and this one is about £4. So they're both just clear brow gels. You could just go ahead and use like a clear mascara or something. They all kind of do the same thing. I actually just bought some Pears soap as well. For some of you that have no idea about soap brows, you're probably thinking, wow, how interesting. But I'm going to be trying out soap brows in one of my next videos, I think. Generally, I do prefer the look of this one, but they're not too far off, so it just depends on whether you want to spend £20 or around £4. Next, we're going to move on to highlighter. So you guys know I love the Pure Minerals Afterglow highlighter, so I'm going to pop that on the more expensive side. And on half of my cubital, I guess. And I'm going to pop some on half of my nose. And then for the more affordable side, I'm going to go in with the Wet n Wild Boozy Brunch highlighter. So next I'm going to go in with lips. For this side I have the Ciate Liquid Velvet in the shade Kiss Me Quick, which is just like this nice pinky shade. And then for the more affordable side I have the Freedom Pro Melts in the shade Up. I think they look pretty similar. I believe this one is a bit more wet looking, so I may have to blot it a little bit. But yeah, we'll see how we go. So that's the Ciate side there. And then we'll go in with Freedom. Oh, the colours are actually pretty similar. So as you can see, the Freedom side is a bit more glossy, but you can easily just do that. Pack a little bit more colour on. And they're pretty spot on, to be honest. And then just to finish off the whole look, I'm going to go in this side with the Urban Decay All Night Setting Spray, and on the more affordable side, I'm going to go in with the Freedom Fixing Spray. How am I going to do this? So this is the finished look, and I don't know about you guys, but I've got to say, both sides look pretty identical from where I'm sitting. You guys know what I'm like. I love some high-end products, I love some drugstore products, so some products on this side are my favourite, some products on this side are my favourite, but it does just go to show that you don't need to spend a lot of money to get a certain look. I'm a big fan of all the products that I featured today, so I will leave a link to all of them in the description box down below, as well as prices and things like that. But yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with how this makeup look turned out. Let me know which side you think is better, and if you've tried any of the products that I featured in this video. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you did like it, and subscribe if you do want to see more of me. I post every Thursdays and Sundays. But apart from that, that's it from me. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!